Could you actually believe that this video on this channel has something in common with Snoop Dogg? Well, two things actually, but the main thing is Raycon, with artist's name here. Album coming out soon, and all our old favorites. We need earbuds that have quality sound and durability. These handsome, sexy, and stylish everyday E25 earbuds are just that. They have frictionless Bluetooth pairing, 6 hours of battery life, and this portable charger. And their price is completely reasonable, running you half the cost of similar sets. You can get them for even less by going to buyraycon.com/runesmith, which saves you a whole 15% off. I personally like to stand on my balcony in the boiling sun and listen to All Star on loop for 6 hours on full blast, and then go to bed with the Jen and Julian podcast. You can live your life the same way as I do by going to buyraycon.com/runesmith. Now you never have to hear anything but your Raycons ever again. Thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, Ray J, for the 2005 hit One Wish. Here's the video. Do you remember that video I made about the Shadowfell? Good, because I don't either, we're on the same page. Let me refresh you real quick on what this place is. So we have the world, with average life, the world plus, with vibrant life, and the grayscale sad place. This is where everyone is sad and dying, and everyone who isn't dying is undead. Alright, cool, so it's pretty familiar to most of us. But just being real dang sad all the time can lead to other negative emotions, and can come from different sources of suffering. Isn't melancholy just fascinating? I mean, not quite as fascinating as melancholies. How did that even work? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The sad place that's a bad place is also a magic place. Go figure. Welcome to D&D. Enough fluff for now, I'll get to the meat and potatoes and the cheese fries of the video, the Sorrowsworn. Adventurers and travelers who spend too much time in the Shadowfell eventually fall deeply into these emotions, and the almost sentient magic that looms over this nasty place thinks it's almost funny to straight up manifest unique personifications of these feelings, to kill you, for fun. All of them come from despair or frustration, and have an extremely unique trait. In order to defeat them, you have to overcome not the monstrosity, but the emotion that manifested it. These things are all really cool, but I'm basically working with one page of material to make a video, so I'll run through them and then I'll add a few more concepts. Let's go. The Angry. I've noticed that anything that has two heads in D&D has rising violent tendencies. The Demogorgon, Ettins, that's it. But still, familiarity breeds contempt. Don't live near the beach if you really love it, and never have friends as roommates. I think the tangents are just gonna keep happening more frequently as the isolation reforms my brain. But back on the railroad track, the Angry manifests when a suffering traveler resorts to lashing out at their allies to make themselves feel stronger in a hopeless situation. These assholes create two-headed, hook-handed horrors of pure wrath. They charge in, flailing wildly, hoping desperately that someone will attack them. But the trick to overcoming anger, and something that all you stupid motherfuckers need to understand, is that it only exists if it's responded to. Attacking an angry Sorrowsworn not only aggravates them, but bolsters their destructive power more than threefold. Calming down and ignoring the hate train causes the two heads to become confused, and then it fucks right off. Food for thought. To illustrate the next guy, I need you to understand what food is. Food is a resource that gives life energy to move forward. Greed is the consumption of more energy than a creature can use, and hunger is what happens when you have less fuel than you need. And when you've reached the near-death limit of starvation, the hungry manifests to invariably kill you. They are the second highest challenge rating out of this bunch, but they are the deadliest by far. They show up and start fucking chowing down on you and all your bros. If someone uses healing magic to create life force or vital energy, and the hungry notices, it gets a food boner and deals like 7 times more damage. That's literally it, these things fucking suck. I'd add an exploit to where if you feed them or heal them directly, their appetite is sated and they're allowed to leave. You know that sickening, near-death feeling you get after a tough breakup where all you really want is just a warm hug? You've probably come pretty damn close if you're actually practicing quarantine and you don't have an in-house babe, and for that I sympathize with you. Honestly, a lot. That shit's tough on all of us. But we can't quite give into the sorrow now, can we? We gotta ignore all the politics and the defiant idiots and hold faith that the silent masses will persevere. I'd like to imagine that we'll get through this in due time. But in a world where isolation is eternal, a monstrosity manifests to be your closest friend, and his name is Gooby. Wait, fuck, no, it's the Lonely. These things work at full power when hunting down 2 friends instead of just 1 or several. They just want to feel close to someone. So naturally, they fucking shoot a goddamn flesh harpoon into your wrist and then pull you close to them. They literally soak up the companionship like a mind leech until they're all alone again. Have you ever watched that Amumu music video? They're like that. On to the Lost. Now this is one of the hardest Binding of Isaac characters to complete a run with because all heart-related pickups still spawn, but they don't do anything, and you can only take 2 hits per room. Shit, this is D&D. Why do I have more hours in Binding of Isaac than I do in D&D? In the Shadowfell, just like in the Feywild, you get pranked because the terrain is not permanent, and that takes a toll on the brain. Humans like patterns, it's how we learn, and these things manifest as the need for familiarity. So they will find you, the one thing that you and them both know, and embrace the solace of permanence. Except it kills you. The more terrified you are of this spiky hug, the worse the experience is. The stuff of childhood trauma. Last in the book are the Wretched. These guys are the baseline of negative emotions, the rock bottom of being in the Shadowfell. Honestly, all they do is the same thing that sadness does, swarm and overwhelm your body and thoughts. Let's add 2 more before we wrap this up because I literally can't be content with the length of a video. The Guilty. Guilt is the self-inflicted punishment for a perceived wrong action, whether or not it was actually immoral. I imagine these would manifest as single, tiny creatures that wrap around your diaphragm and latch onto your shoulders, giving you a perceived sense of weight and then dealing constant psychic damage. The Bored. Boredom is the ironic exhaustion that comes from doing something that doesn't interest you. So you don't spend energy on the thing that you're doing, instead over-speculating about what would be a better use of your time. That pointless speculation drains you because it uses the same amount of energy that doing something normally would. So the Bored would be incapable of movement, and would likely manifest either as a trap or something that spawns directly on you. I'll go with a location, a condition that it manifests in, like boredom as a state of mind. When you go to this place, its domain, it immediately pounces on you, grasping at you with 1,000 hands that represent all these split ideas, dealing slow but certain necrotic and psychic damage. Alright, that was basically Sorrowsworn, a concept that I actually fell in love with during this video. I would want to make more, but deadlines and the such. Honestly, thank you for spending your time watching my video. I don't give you guys enough praise for following my progress as a creative. I've got a few other creative projects I'm working on right now as well. For example, that book that I'm writing for 5th edition about pets and how to tame, train, and form a bond with each of them. My art skills are still pretty unrefined, partly due to confidence and dedication, but I did fund other artists to encourage their creativity, and then I put them on some comfy shirts for you guys. That and my Patreon with over like 100 homebrew chunks of stuff for you to look at. And thanks to these names for supporting me right there. Till the next one.